Yo, what up, everybody? We're gonna get started here in just a second. Just want to make sure I have a couple links up. But yeah, we can switch over to my other scene here. How's it going? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. My name is Andrew, and this is Rocket Future. We're gonna be talking a little bit about what we saw last night. I'll go over the whole thing. I'll show I'll show some videos that I got, including a slowed down one that I haven't released yet, but I will after this. Yeah, I kind of just wanted to go live, and if anybody had any questions, happy to talk about it. And then we can talk a little bit about what is next for SpaceX after what occurred last night. So I do just want to kind of give a couple minutes for people just to kind of trickle in. While we do that, let me hide my window capture here, and I'm just gonna check to make sure we're actually live um, on all the platforms I expect to be. Looks like we are live on Rocket Future YouTube. Looks like we are live on X. And I guess we are live on Twitch. Roger C is in chat. Welcome in, Roger C. All right. Welcome in, welcome in. So I'll start just kind of with a high level overview of what happened. That way, it might be a little bit repetition to people who have heard what happened just for a couple minutes and just allowing people to trickle in. And then I can talk a little bit about my own experience, and we'll look back at some of the videos and answer any questions that anybody might have. Excuse me. So yeah, I'm a little bit loud here. So let's rewind a little bit to yesterday. So yesterday, hey Yazada, what's up? Good to see you. So yesterday, there were rumors spreading about a potential static fire of S36. I think my title was wrong for a minute. So S36 was the next Starship upper stage that's supposed to launch as early as potentially the end of this month. That was the plan. And there was a couple things left on the list for SpaceX to do ahead of that launch attempt. One of which was a second static fire, which we speculate to it was probably going to be a six-engine static fire and potentially a long-duration static fire. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you might know that I am not as active as I used to be on getting all the test coverage, but I am starting to try to ramp back up. But the reason why I decided to go out and try to capture some video for this specific test was just because it was happening at night. It was a long duration static fire, and I thought it was going to be really beautiful, and I wanted to kind of capture that. And personally, I wanted to see it, and also I wanted to capture that for people at home. So that's what kind of compelled me to drive out there. I was actually on my way to the gym. I was leaving, heading to the gym. I made a quick pit stop, looked at my phone for a second, and saw that SpaceX was probably preparing to static fire Ship 36. So I was like, you know what? The gym can wait. Let me drive out there to Highway 4 and see this thing static fire. So I'm on my way out there. Everything seems to be going according to plan. I find the spot that I want to view from. Um, Actually, I'll talk a little bit more about my personal experience in a few minutes. But yeah, long story short, um, during what looked like during fueling operations, liquid oxygen, specifically, we were watching the frost line rise. There was an anomaly on board, and I think we have an update that I'll share with you in just a second. But there was an anomaly on board which caused the entire vehicle to just explode. So not optimal, not expected in the least. Granted, we do know these things are possible. This is still a test and development program, but we did not, we nobody really wanted to or expected to see this at this point in the program. Yeah, so let me first of all, I think we have an update, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Let me try to find it. I don't know where it went. I'll still try to find it, but I'm pretty sure there was an update saying that it may have been related to a COPV. Now, don't quote me on that because I only briefly saw it as I was getting this stream set up, so I don't want to. Here we go. Here we go. This is what I was talking about. Preliminary data suggests that a nitrogen COPV, carbon overwrapped pressure vessel, in the payload bay failed below its proof pressure. If further investigation confirms that this is what happened, it is the first time ever for this design. So the COPVs, carbon overwrapped pressure vessels, those are those big black tanks that look like carbon fiber, basically. That for in this case would house nitrogen to be used. I don't know exactly. I'm not positive if this was for backfilling pressure during when the ignitions are happening. I would have to take a minute to think about this to see what these COPVs were used for. But yeah, not good. So we'll see if we hear more about that. But let's get on to like my experience with this. Um, though before we do that, let's just read the SpaceX official statement on this. Come on, I just want to go to the main page. Oh, we're on it. Okay. I don't know why it started me down there. On Wednesday, June 18th at approximately 11 p.m., the Starship preparing for the 10th flight test experienced a major anomaly while on a test stand at Starbase. A safety clear area around the site was maintained through the operation, and all personnel are safe and accounted for. Our Starbase team is actively working to safe the test site and the immediate surrounding area in conjunction with local officials. There are no hazards to residents and surrounding communities, and we ask that individuals do not attempt to approach the area while safely the operations continue. So it sounds like no injuries, no personnel injured. All of that is great, but also just expected. These tests are supposed to be done in a very safe manner, with very strict safety corridor boundaries, all that stuff. So hearing that nobody was injured is not a surprise, but still very good to hear. And hopefully people are taking that safety seriously, and if not, hopefully they are now, because I think we were getting a little bit confident in this vehicle and there not being any ground failures. Um, so yeah, let's quickly review my video here, and I'm gonna talk about what was happening in my mind at the time. I'll fix. Don't worry about the scuffed stuff. We'll fix this. Um, I think I'm gonna do this. I know that I'm just kind of doing this on the fly here, but okay. So uh, I am watching along in my Jeep. I'm 1.8 miles from the test pad here. I'm on Highway 4, um, and expecting a static fire to happen. I have NSF in the background. I'm listening into the NSF guys. I always love listening in on their commentary. And yeah, they start talking about frosting, and I see frosting as well. And the frost line keeps growing up the liquid oxygen section of Starship, and it gets close to full. So at that point, I kind of step out of the Jeep, and I'm on the side rails of my Jeep, like the what are they called? Some rock bar. I don't know, whatever the heck they're called. Under the doors there's a bar. So I was standing on top of that, and I was actually fumbling with my phone. I was like, all right, let me get my phone ready to record. I have my main camera recording, which is this footage here. And then out of my peripheral vision, I just see. Hold on, let me fix my desktop audio here. There we go. Yeah, I just see a bright flash out of the corner of my eye. So, for the first like solid 2 seconds or so, I was like not looking at the explosion. I was looking at my phone and like trying to get to record. I was like trying to pause NSF and trying to record on my phone because I was like, oh, it's happening now. Got to get it ready. So as I was starting to try to record, I don't know. I think just out of the corner of my eye, I was just like, this is very bright. Let me just look at it again. And I quickly realized that this was not nominal and that this was not a static fire and that something had gone wrong. And it almost seemed like to happen in slow motion. It was like I just like noticed the the visual signature of what looked like a mushroom cloud or whatever, but it was very bright and overexposed to my own eyes. And I was like, oh, this is not a static fire, this is an explosion. And then like from this point that we're seeing on the screen to the point where it becomes bigger, which we'll see in a second, that felt like it took a very long time to happen. And I was just kind of shocked. I was like, what is going on here? And then just as I see it take up a massive portion of my field of view, um, it really was surreal and did not feel like I couldn't hardly believe what I was seeing with my own eyes, and like almost felt like an out of body experience. I was like, what is actually happening right now? To rewind a second, it's really funny because I haven't gone out to Highway 4 to see a static fire at Massey's yet. And it's a different experience because you can get closer. You still are outside their safety blast zone and all that stuff, but you can get closer. Up to this point, they don't close down Highway 4 for these tests. We'll see if they do after. But I was like, all right, I know a spot that I'm gonna go to, and I'm gonna watch it from there. And I was like, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be nighttime. It's gonna be a static fire. It could be long duration, and it's just gonna be insane. Like this is gonna be an awesome, crazy experience. And then in the back of my mind, I actually thought I was like, it's gonna be my luck that the one time I get even closer to one of these tests, something's gonna go wrong. And as I was driving on Highway 4, Yazada says, yeah, it was really surprising. Static fires have become routine, and the fireball didn't match expectations. Exactly, exactly. But yeah, as I was heading down Highway 4, I see Jack and a couple other people pulled over. Um, this is before the test, and I was gonna go to my other location, which was even closer, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna watch it from here first. Like 1.8 miles is close enough for now. I'm gonna watch this one. I pulled up like maybe a half mile past where everybody else was, and I was like, if this is cool, I'll go to the closer location next time. And still in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want to be too close if something were to happen, even though nobody was expecting there to be a failure. Um, and I couldn't believe it at that moment where the sky was just being taken up by this explosion, and I was like, oh my God! I was like, this is exactly what I was talking about. I can't believe this is actually happening in front of my eyes right now. Um, and then the sound hit, and that kind of snapped me back to reality. Um, I can't tell you how loud it was. I really don't know. But I know it was shockingly loud. I don't know if it was concerningly loud, but I mean, it was certainly two or three major sound blasts, like shockwave blasts. I did have one earplug in, and I think I might have had my second earplug in um, loosely, because I was still waiting for the static fire, and from like 1.8 miles, I was like, I'm gonna wear earplugs just in case this thing's pretty loud. I'm pretty sure I had them in for the explosions, but as soon as I heard the first explosion, I kind of like scurried behind the Jeep just to like make sure I was out of harm's way, which I was out of the hazard zone. I feel confident that if that was a particularly dangerous area to be in, I would not have been allowed to be there. Um, so I kind of looked around and assessed the situation and determined that I was like, yep, I am not in any immediate harm. I looked up at the cloud, and kind of there was some still glowing, flaming debris falling from the sky, and I looked at that and was like, okay, this I doesn't look like a factor. It doesn't look like I should be concerned about that, at least not right away. Um, Everything that's glowing seems to be stopping burning, and it doesn't seem like it's coming directly towards me. So I was like, all right, next priority is video. I was like, I know my main camera is rolling. I looked down at my phone, which I thought was recording the whole time, and I wish it was because you would have seen like me like scurry around behind the Jeep and all that stuff. But I had not been recording yet, so I hit record. And then got behind the Jeep and filmed some more. I'll show you those clips in a little bit. But yeah, I was just kind of sitting back there just to make sure this thing wasn't going to get any bigger. And Yeah, it was. It's really impossible to explain what the experience was like. It was. It still doesn't feel real. Um, and You know, I don't want to sound like I'm sensationalizing it into something more intense than it was, but I promise you, like that moment where this thing just the second explosion, which you know what, let's watch the second explosion. So that's explosion one, and then that when this happened, when it just grows in volume, yeah, I could have been a lizard on a different planet in a different universe, and I would still would have felt I just felt so unreal and surreal. I just like I could have been anywhere. It was the craziest thing I've ever felt. Um, but let's watch through instead of pausing it. So first explosion, second explosion, and then yeah, as you can see, that's pretty considerable. And those are the booms. And then there was a lot of small popping for as long as I was there. There was just a ton of these small pop 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 pop. It just kept going off. Um, so as it started to fade down, I did notice that the smoke cloud was getting a little bit closer to me, and there was a very slight scent in the air. So I knew Jack was you know a quarter half mile behind me. I was like, all right, it's probably time for me to get out of here. Let me go back there and hang with those guys for a minute to make sure everybody's happy and safe. So I threw the camera in the Jeep. I drove back there, and yeah, you could tell both Jack and I were both and there was a couple other people there too. I don't know who they were at the time. It was dark and we had the adrenaline. Yeah, both of us had just like the adrenaline rushes going, and we're like, sorry for the profanity in the background. We were both just like, what just happened? We were both in shock and awe, and we were just like trying to trying to say anything and almost couldn't. So yeah, we just chatted for a second. He was saying how he was overexposed and he didn't even have it rolling, and or no, I think he was rolling. He just said something about being overexposed, and I was like, yeah, I think I got it. I don't know what I got, but I got something. And we were both just he was just like, hey, if you think you got it, you should get out of here and go post it, so people can see what's going on down here. And I was like, yeah, it's smart. So I think both of us at the moment were like, this is a crazy moment that we will never experience. So I think we both acknowledged that like non-verbally at the time and just kind of like hugged each other and was like, "This is crazy. See you later." Um, and I got out of there. Admittedly, the drive back, so it was like a 40-minute drive home. Um, and I was I I don't know if I should have really been driving. I don't like the drive back was a blur. I mean, I drove safe, absolutely, but it I hardly remember driving back. I just had such an adrenaline rush. Um, and Anyway, before you know it, I was home and editing videos. Yazada says, I think the first explosion was the CH4 tank detonating. The second explosion was the first explosion tearing the LOX tank apart and releasing a flood of liquid oxygen that fed the fireball. I think that's probably a pretty good analysis. I thought it could be something like that, or maybe it was a tank nearby, like a liquid oxygen tank or a methane tank nearby or something. But I think you could be right. I think that sounds pretty good. So yeah, that's kind of the first-hand experience. And then I didn't go to bed until like 6 a.m. I just couldn't fall asleep, and I had media reaching out to me left and right from all over the place. RaptorMan0909 says, Andrew, in the video you recorded of the deflagration, there is an odd green flash seen near the rupture and just before deflagration. My first thought is TTEB, but I do not believe Starship uses TTEB. Yes, I do not believe Starship uses TTEB. They use torch igniters. And yeah, even if they did use TTAB, it wouldn't be up towards the top there. So let's try to view this. Will it spread to Bruce Township, Michigan, or will it hit Luke Tremblay alone? I think you are either a bot or in the wrong chat, Ramen. So I will moderate you if required. So let's look at the slow-mo version and see if we can see what Raptor Man's talking about. I do have a slow version that I have not posted yet. Again, forgive me. I'm doing everything on by the fly, on whatever the heck, I can't talk. On the fly. I don't have any of this prepared. So I'm just editing the scenes as we go. Okay, let's look at this. Let's see if we can find where I can slow it down even more. Okay, let's see if we see that green flash. Why doesn't it want to start? I might want to like put this in VLC or something and have better control over it. Yeah, let me do that. Give me 2 seconds here. Or actually, I can do it in DaVinci. That's even better. Stand by here for a minute. That way we can go frame by frame. Ba 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 ba. Let's get this over here. Let's get this over here. Do you have a gas mask or not? If you do, please put it on. The rocket ships have uranium in them. I do not believe that there is any uranium inside a Starship. But if I had a gas mask or like some sort of mask, I probably would have put it on just to be safe. Okay, let me share this screen over here. Oh, hey, look, it's playing. Look at the screen right now. See that green flash? That is the green flash that Raptor is talking about. Okay, so it's actually playing now. We're kind of going very slow frame by frame here. All right, we're getting some spam in here. I'm gonna block user. Okay, hopefully that worked. Check this video out. So frame by frame, the explosion definitely happens in the top half of the vehicle. You see that green pop, and then you see it explode from almost what looks like the common dome up. I don't know if that's the case, but that's kind of what it looks like to me. And then let's speed it up a little bit. We don't need to be going this slow. And then, yeah, you see that first explosion, and then let's see where the second explosion comes from. Yeah, the second explosion does seem to come from the pad, so you're probably right, Yazada. That's probably the liquid oxygen tank. So for the record, in my chats on Rocket Future, whether it's on Facebook or X or whatever, I don't. I try to provide coverage. I'm pro Starbase, Starship, pro spaceflight in general, but I try to provide coverage for everybody. And if you consume it with your own bias or whatever, that's okay. But if we're having discussions in chat, uh, you got to be having logical conversations. If you're just spouting out BS, then you'll be blocked. And it's not censorship. It's just we don't need your like just spam here. Happy to talk about anybody with any opinions on this, but yeah. Yazada says Elon talked about a COPV bursting. Maybe the green flash was that. I do think that you're right about that. Elon did say that if it does turn out to be a COPV failure, that is very unexpected and kind of the first of its kind failure. But yeah, I some people are speculating even before Elon said that this was a COPV, and it seemed very similar to another failure in the past. So I think that could very well be true. William says Jack was so broken up over exposure. I know. And I understand, but he was there and he had his camera on it and you could still see it and he fixed it. He fixed it quickly. I got lucky, to be completely honest with you. I just had things set right. Oh, look at those birds flying up there. I had things set, and they just worked. When it exploded, I could have been very overexposed as well, and if I was, I wouldn't have had the mental capacity to adjust it the way that Jack did. So I'm impressed that Jack actually was able to adjust it down eventually, um, because I wouldn't have been able to do that. I got lucky that I was on the right settings. Um, but yeah, he shouldn't beat himself up about that, but I do understand why he might be. It's yeah, nobody was expecting this to happen. Um, so I think we'll talk a little bit now about what this means for SpaceX and where SpaceX will head after this. Um, but at the same time, I think is a great time for any Q&A or any questions about what it was like to be there, or what it was like to see or hear, or just any questions you have at all. You can just put those in the chat, and I'll answer those as we go along and as we're talking up about what SpaceX should be doing next. So this was, of course, was ahead of Flight 10. So Flight 10, Starship Flight 10, was supposed to happen as early as the end of the month. There was I think there was flight advisories posted for June 29th and 30th. So that's pretty much as early as we would have seen this thing fly. Yazada says Jack is famous for narrating the SN4 explosion. He sounded the same this time. Yeah, yep, absolutely. I feel like during something like this, you're kind of broken down into your truest form. Your character goes out, not that I'm saying Jack is a character, but like if you do have any sort of on-camera persona, it kind of goes out the window and you just become who you actually are when you're seeing these things. So Flight 10 is supposed to happen towards the end of this month or early July. Obviously, that's not going to be happening now. So what does this mean for SpaceX? And this is still a big question mark. I think the biggest concern is the test infrastructure that has been damaged. The loss of a ship is unfortunate, but not by any means a significant step back. So obviously the failure method could be a step back, and they're going to have to investigate what happened, confirm if it was at COPV or not, and figure out how to make sure that this never happens again. But the actual physical loss of the ship, they have other ships on the way. Unless there's a considerable design change that needs to happen, they have ships. The loss of the ship is unfortunate, not the end of the world. The bigger concern is how damaged is Massey's. And we're starting to see some imagery. I think there's some flyovers today, and we're going to learn more and more about how bad Massey's is damaged today. But SpaceX has surprised us in the past with the Booster 7 explosion, the IFT-1 aftermath, Starship, Falcon 9 failures in testing. All of these are examples of when something catastrophic happened, and it was assumed that this would delay SpaceX for months, maybe years. And each time they've shown to bounce back very quickly, get things back on the road very quickly, and keep pushing forward. Yazada guesses that Massey's wasn't seriously damaged. I think I agree. I think it's not as damaged as we were thinking it might have been last night. this explosion would have looked way different during the daytime. Let's not get it twisted. This was, I think, the most insane explosion of the Starship program so far. Hopefully ever. But I think they're going to be able to recover Massey's. Will it take months? Probably. Maybe a couple. I don't know. Maybe a couple months. I don't really know. I don't even want to speculate. But I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be, causing us to wait another year for launch. I hope. That's just my gut. I think they're going to get Massey's back online, get the next ship out there, test it, and get a flight out. Um, Ship. I think Tim said it best yesterday. Everyday astronaut. The ship needs a win. This year, ships really need wins. The last couple flights were failures in flight failures. Again, part of the development and test program, not fun to see. They did feel like slight to moderate step backs. This feels like another moderate step back, but I don't think we're in dire territory yet. I don't think SpaceX is concerned. I don't think there is an existential dread to the Starship program right now. But I mean, I would be lying to say that we're not closer to that point than we've been in the past. This isn't good. This isn't optimal. But I don't think this is a dire circumstance for the Starship program. So what I expect to see, was it an explosion or an implosion? Explosion. Pretty damn sure it's an explosion. Let's rewind here. If you can see, check this out. I'm going to slow this down a little bit more, and you'll actually see the pressure wave, the pressure going outwards and not being sucked inwards. All right, let's check this out. You'll see the first green flash, and then you'll see the explosion. There's the green flash, and yeah, that's an explosion. Check out the deer or the nilgai in the foreground here. I'm sure they had a terrible scare. Hold on, let me find out where they are. Yeah, look, bottom left right there. Those are either deer or nilgai. They seem to be a safe distance away, but I'm sure they got the scare of a lifetime as well. But yeah, SpaceX will push forward. They will learn from this. But I do think that they need to take a moment to evaluate safety and quality. I think it's time for them to have a win. The next flight needs to go well. If it doesn't, then I'm going to be a bit more concerned. Again, even if the next flight doesn't go well, I don't even think at that point we're at end of the world territory for Starship. But they really, really, really need a win. They really, really do. So I think it's entirely possible we're going to see another launch by the end of the year. And hopefully it's not even close. Hopefully it's a couple months out, 2, 3, 4 months. Maybe October at the late. I don't know, but I think we'll be all right for this year. Yazada says, I think the propellant tank farm is okay unless shrapnel punctured things. Flame trench structure is probably okay. The damage is probably mostly the QD connection pipes and wiring near the pad. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if like whatever lines, tubes, electrical, and all that stuff going to the actual pad and quick disconnect. Yeah, that's all gonna need to be replaced, I'm sure. Tanks, I don't know if I'm as confident as you there, but I mean tanks can be replaced. Not the end of the world either. But hey, for all I know, maybe they're fine. They are. I mean, here's the reality. SpaceX engineers, the people who design these testing facilities, they are smart. They are some of the smartest people in this world and on this planet. They probably know when they placed those tanks where they placed them that they should survive an explosion if it were to happen. So Yazada, I do give you some credit there for your evaluation because I think SpaceX probably knows that this was a possibility, and that probably went into the design of Massey's. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Maybe this was an iterative development thing where they're like, let's get the tanks installed, let's get the testing let's get testing happening. We'll make sure it's the best design for the test site later. That could also be very true. So, well, I guess, well, this is all speculation, and speculation's okay as long as we speculate in a healthy way and discuss, multiple options, and don't take anything for gospel until we know for sure. Um, geez. So I think we've gone through most of everything. Um, I I still feel pretty wild. I don't feel quite back to normal. Nothing like wrong or bad or concerning. It's just this definitely rocked me for sure. It was quite the experience. Sebastian says, wouldn't be surprised if they're pushing S37 now faster for launch, so they won't get too much delay. Yeah, um, it's gonna really depend on what they determine the root cause to be. Because if it's the COPV, um, I don't know if they're gonna run additional testing on those tanks, probably the COPV tanks. But that shouldn't cause a major redesign of vehicle. Um, But yeah, as long as there's not a major redesign of the vehicle, I think they will probably push S37 as long as there's not inherently something wrong with the design and they would have to scrap S37. But I don't think that's the case. But here's one thing. In order for them to push faster on S37, um, that includes testing. And in order to test S37, they need the infrastructure that they have at Massey's. So that's probably going to be the blocker. So they need to get Massey's back online to do static fires and all that. Raptorman says at some point doing it fast has to be replaced by doing it right. I agree. I think that is a timeline. Doing it fast, doing it right, and you have to slowly transition until you're doing it right. Um, and doing it right, you discover how to do it right by what you learn over here. So anyway, uh, I don't disagree. Any other questions? Any other questions? I definitely this was a kind of a reminder of what I was doing here at Starbase. You know, even though we've seen some in-flight failures of Starship recently, um, the Starship program was still on an upward almost exponential trajectory to success. Like, I know that's not true because of the last couple Starship failures, but those didn't we couldn't see those with our own eyes. It wasn't visceral. It wasn't tangible. Um, there hasn't been an explosion since Booster 7 uh, spin prime explosion or conflagration, whatever. Um, so I think we forgot that this could happen. And this was kind of a reminder of why I'm down here to document this stuff. Not that I want to see failures, but when I came down here, it wasn't to document just everything going perfectly right. It was to document everything that goes right, everything that goes wrong, and everything in between. Um, and I think there's a balance there and a story there. And with all of the tests just going well for so long, I feel like the value of the story in what translates to my motivation to capture these things was less tangible, and it got away from me a little bit. And this is a kind of reminder that we are here to witness something insanely extreme, insanely innovative, insanely hard. And I think this, we'll see, but I think this sparked some motivation for me to get back out there and grind and get this story told in any way I can about SpaceX trying to build this vehicle and get people to Mars. Yazada says the version 2 ships seem to be cursed. None of them have performed properly. Version 1 ships worked pretty well. It does. It almost kind of does seem that way. I'm not gonna lie. Um, V2 doesn't have a track record that we like. Um, could be a coincidence. But yeah, I don't disagree. I don't disagree. I'm not saying, excuse me, I'm not saying that they need to scrap V2 altogether, but they definitely need, excuse me, they definitely need to decide what's going on moving forward. Let's look at some of the other clips and videos and images that I have that I took um, on X. Um, let's see. We don't need all the side stuff. Okay, so let's look at my post from last night. Okay, first thing I texted, or first thing I sent after the explosion was, I have no idea what I got in my camera from 1.8 miles. I'll have it posted in a little over an hour. Then I said I actually sent this first, but it didn't send until later. I said I was 1.8 miles from the explosion, but I'm safe. Some people knew I was out there, so I just want to let everybody know I was good. Um, and then I will go a little out of order here. So this was me behind my Jeep. Sorry, this went full screen. That's not exactly what I wanted. Um, this is me just kind of taking a little bit of cover behind my Jeep. I was listening to NSF at the time. Still, I didn't have the mental capacity to try to pause their stream that I was listening to on my phone. So you still hear NSF stream in the background here. But yeah, you can see me kind of hiding behind the Jeep just until I knew that nothing was going to get bigger and more explosive. Yazada says they angered the rocket gods when they scrapped Ship 26. Honestly, maybe. Um, and then, okay, so I have a few more pics. This is another short clip here. You can hear some of those explosions. Sorry, I'm just making sure you can see the whole thing. As you can see in the side, I've had a lot of media reaching out. A couple pictures I took. Okay, and then I got out of there. And so across the shipping channel, so shoot, is it worth showing you a map real quick? Probably, right? Maps. Nope, that's my Gmail. I don't want to show you my emails. Okay, so let's look at this map real quick. So Massey's test site is right here. So this is Massey's test site, right? So I live on the other side of the channel. So Highway 4 is right here. I live somewhere in this general vicinity over here. So in order for me to get over here to Starbase, I have to drive all the way up this channel, around towards Brownsville, and then down back Highway 4. So it's like I live like within under 13 miles as the crow flies from Starbase's launch pad. But it takes me like, I don't know, it takes me like 40, 45 minutes to get there. So I was like right here. Uh, how do I add a pin? I don't know. I was like right there. So yeah, I was 1.8, 1.9 miles, somewhere in that vicinity. Um, but anyway, so I started driving back. So in order to drive back, I go all the way up Highway 4 here, and then around the channel, and then up over here. So I was about right here, kind of near this boat ramp, when I took these pictures. So this was across the channel near the port of Brownsville, and it looked insane from over there. You could just see that black cloud, and it was huge. Yeah, I don't even know what to say. It was intense seeing it from across, and I could smell it. I'm not gonna lie, I could smell it strongly from where I was here. I was right under that plume, so I did not stick around there. Um, so yeah, a little bit after that, I think that's mostly everything. And then I got back and I posted the full video that we've watched a few times now. And then I posted this. If there's one thing that I feel tonight, it's closer to all the crazy people at Starbase I do this alongside of. Love y'all. Um, I was just like, damn, like I'm with a bunch of crazy people that are just as crazy as I, out here to see this stuff happen. And sometimes there's a little drama, it's not as much drama as X makes it seem. But sometimes there's a little drama. Sometimes there's interpersonal conflicts and stuff down here, and there's a little bit of a competition vibe sometimes, and this just is one of the events that just reminded me, like, I really really appreciate the other people that are down here doing what I'm doing. And I really admire them all, and I'm really glad to spend any time I can with them. And this moment was just like, hey, we're all here. Let's remember what we're doing here. We're here for the adventure, not just for the successes, but we're here to capture anything that happens. And that's what we did. I think that's everything. I think that's everything. I was on calls and stuff with media all night. Um, I finally got to bed around 6 a.m. I couldn't fall asleep before then. I woke up at noon to another call for more media. Um, so it's been a hell of a day. Luckily, I have today off from work. I do have a full-time job, but I did have today off, and I have most of tomorrow off. So I'm just gonna relax a little bit, recover from like just the insane mental stimulation that this has been. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Does anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns, anything to talk about at all? I'll just give people a few seconds if they do, and then we can wrap things up. But in the meantime, I do appreciate everybody stopping in. I appreciate everybody chatting. Roger C, Yazada, thanks for chatting. Raptor Man, thanks for chatting. A couple spammers I had to get out of here today. Sebastian, thanks for chatting. Um, yeah, we appreciate y'all. And I appreciate the support and sharing this stuff around. One thing I do want to say is, it always goes through my mind about, like, this is a failure, like, no doubt. Like, we can't not call this a failure. And like, I am pro Starship and pro spaceflight, and like, I know the media will latch onto this, and probably use it out of context in some cases. And I was like, how much do I really want to share this out? But I got to be true to myself and true to the vision, and it's to share what's happening here at Starbase, the good, bad, and the ugly. Um, and here's what I think. There is gonna be there is gonna be people creating their own story around these images, and using it to fulfill their own agenda, and to try to convince people of something. I don't know what it is, but that's going to happen. But if my images are being shared, at least people that are seeing those posts or those stories, um, might at least be able to find my channel and come and learn about what's happening down here. Uh, you know, and learn the reality. So people are going to talk regardless. So I figured just push this out there and get the conversation going, because I don't think we don't want to try to brush this under the rug and pretend it never happened. This is a part of spaceflight. This is a part of uh, the most ambitious star space program ever. And getting people to Mars is going to take it's going to have some failures. Oh, one more thing I want to show you is Jared Isaacman's post. He worded it really well. He worded it really well. Um, what did he say? Geez, where is it? Maybe it was a reply. Jared Isaacman tweeted or posted on X. His X is Rook Isaacman. We all know Jared. He said the road to Mars will be paved with failures, breakthroughs, and millions of other hard lessons, but we will get there. This is not an easy project. We know that. We knew that. Maybe we lost that a little bit on the way, but this is a reminder. So we just gotta hope that SpaceX can learn from this, and a year from now, hopefully we've had at least a couple, um, full successful flights. And if we get to that point, if they do it once, let's just say in 4 or 5 months, let's say we have a fully successful flight. If they do that once, that means they can do it a million times. So we just gotta hope to see that. But that's all I've got. It doesn't seem like there's any other questions. Let me just actually quickly check the X. I do expect to see the chats here from X, but I don't see any. Probably just means that nobody's chatting, but I just want to make sure that I'm not missing anything over there. How do I see? Yeah, I don't see any comments or anything under it. So, all right, that's all I got. My name is Andrew. This is Rocket Future. Thanks for joining us today. I appreciate everybody hanging out and listening to what we had to say here today. And hoping I was kind of hoping it was a little bit more of a dialogue, but that's it's all good. Yeah, we can only do what we get, and yeah, that's it. Talk to you guys later. Have a good one. My name is Andrew. This is Rocket Future. Peace out. Yazada says it was a failure, but certainly not a disaster. They will fly again in a few months. I think I agree. I think I agree.